with another video. So I'm going to be doing my review for the series finale of The Walking Dead. Season 11, episode 24. Rest in peace. So for now, let's dive on in. First off, I think it was an amazing way to end this show that I just flat out don't have words. Like, it was just so amazing how they wrapped it up and had it fall in place of what's become in the spin-off series. So I will get to that close to the end and all that. So we seen the beginning of it, based off what left off was episode 23, was Judith getting shot, and with this herd, and the Commonwealth soldiers blocked them off, and they were fighting, and somehow they got a pathway for Judith and Daryl to leave. So that was the end of episode 23. And we see that leading on to the series finale with Daryl getting her to the hospital and him yelling for help and putting Judith on a gurney, and then he get hit by some soldiers, and Judith regained consciousness long enough to somehow barricade the walkers so it won't get her or Daryl, and then they passed out. And then we see the first deaths. So Jules and Luke. Well, how it was is them a fight, and Jules gets bit, and then she turns around and gets eaten alive. And Luke tries to save her, and he wound up getting bit. And in the process of that he had I think he had his leg amputated or something. And that he died. And we seen Yumiko, Kelly, Connie, Magna just flat out was emotional because they was all been together for so long, and seeing him die like that, it was just very emotional. And we see that happening, Daryl waking up from what happened to him, and then there's Judith. It just can't clean on for life, and Daryl wound up giving her some blood because he wanted to some way to save her. And during this process, I think she tells Daryl about being Rick alive, but later on confirms it, tells him that that's the reason why Michonne's gone. She is finding Rick and all that. And then like the hospital gets overrun, like everybody is having this effort. And this is what I seen in episode 23 and episode 24 of the majority of it. Since Judith got shot at the end of episode 23, everybody came together to make a point to get Judith out of her and get saved. We've seen that throughout episode 24 with being overrun at the hospital, them getting her to a safe house. So Tom, I think his name's Tommy, Yumiko's brother, to save her. I think it was him and Ezekiel, but to save her, and she survived. I just think it's amazing how they really, in general, the whole Walking Dead, since Judith's been alive, they protect her to what the age she has. And I just think it was amazing. And with how they took down Pamela, I thought it was very interesting. Like, we seen in episode 23 with Negan talking to Maggie, one of them has to do it. And we see Negan going off. He didn't want Maggie to take the blame because she has Herschel, and he didn't want her to take the hit or get herself killed. That's why he done it. He told her he was sorry for whatever he done, and wind up him and Maggie was with the gun, just pretty much ready to shoot the Pamela. And yeah, and then all this scene, Mercer and everybody confronts Pamela, and Father Gabriel, I think this was a cool scene with Father Gabriel going to the gate, open it, and then she's like, shoot him, and all that, and then wind up everybody come together to take her down. Like her in custody. She's in jail. She's going to rot and not be the governor or the leadership of the Commonwealth because she's not thinking of the Commonwealth. She's thinking of herself. And I think it was just our people and everybody come to protect the Commonwealth, themselves, take out this herd. And I think it was cool. They just dynamite the shit and blowed it up. Amazing. And then we see before all this, before I forget, the main point that was very emotional. So Rosita, Eugene, and Father Gabriel was going to try to find Coco. They seeded it and found 2 other babies, so each one of them had a baby. And they came across this herd, and Eugene and Father Gabriel climbed up, and Rosita did, but she fell back, and I thought right there she was dead, her and Coco. But she managed to do it, and we found out later in this episode, she did get bit, and she didn't want nobody to know, and she told Eugene to not tell nobody. And when all this party was a celebration and everybody, we found out about dog. I'm just putting that up. She's just living in the moment of this is going to be the last time. And she eventually tells Father Gabriel. And it's just like, and I think Judith can tell that something was up. But yeah, Maggie and Carol brought her in there so she could spend this moment with Coco. And Father Gabriel was having a praying thing. And you seen Daryl just in the doorway. And then Father Gabriel just let Rosita tell Coco goodbye, and he took her. And Eugene stayed with, I think it was Eugene and Daryl stayed with her till she gone. And it was a very sad moment. And then they done this year time jump with everybody, with King Ezekiel and Mercer. Pretty much are the governor, the ruling of the Commonwealth. They rebuilt Commonwealth. They rebuilt Alexander and stuff. I think, yeah. And we just seen everybody just happy and at peace. Like they're not have to have this weight on their shoulder and that they can be in peace. And Eugene and Maxie had a baby named Rosita. I thought it was funny to call her Rosie. And yeah, and we see Daryl getting ready to leave to find Rick and Michonne. And it was just, that whole scene was him and Carol, and then him with Judith and RJ, and hugging Kenny Ziegler, and then he just packed up and leave in the sunset. And I thought that was so sad. And then having that, and then have that whole scene with Rick and Michonne. I'll have a video linking it, and also I'll link my reaction to this episode too. So check both of them out. Yeah, they will be up sometimes this week. So we see all that, and then it just showing that, and the Rick and Michonne scene, and then just the very last scene was Judith and RJ, and it was done. I just think this is amazing how they wrapped up this show, and it was just very emotional because this was the last episode, period, and yeah. So like I said, I will link my reaction, and there's going to be a video coming out talking about the Rick and Michonne's scene and all that. So if you're new to my channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, turn on, keep up with the videos, and I'll check you guys out in my next video.